Hello, everyone. This is Demetri Kousathanas, host of the Greek American Hour with Demetri here on WZIG 104.1 FM that airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and again Saturday, 4 a.m. That would be 11 a.m. in Greece. So that broadcast is for the benefit of our friends in Greece. Our very special guest today is arguably the most famous Greek American comedian in the entire world. His name is Basile, and I've had the privilege and honor of performing with him in the past. And he's not just a specialist for Greek American comedy, but he also does English spoken comedy as well and several voiceovers. He works with ESPN, and he is known just by the mononymous Basile, kind of like Madonna or Fidel.
Cher.
There you go.
Sinbad.
Yes.
Is there any other ones?
I'm sure we could think of a few.
Okay,
yes.
that's fine.
So,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's
continue.
all good.
I like
It's
this
all
intro. It's good. So far, it's so good.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here on the air with you.
Yeah, as we mentioned, you go strictly by Basile. Do you have a last name?
No. My parents didn't like me. I didn't like them. So I said, no last names. I'm not going to promote your name in any way. Well, that's a lie, to be quite honest with you. I'm not really proud of my last name. It's Katsikis. Vasilis Katsikis.
Billy Goat.
Literally translated Billy Goat. I'm not very proud of it. That's why I rarely go by it. So it is what it is. And my best friend I played ball with, Petros Kounelis, Peter Rabbit. And I'm not very proud of that either. Neither was he.
All right, very good. So it's not that you're hiding behind a name like Basil Rabinowitz or
no. The Katsikis part really didn't have the marquee value that I was looking for. Performing Basile Katsikis. No, it wasn't really like that. It was I figured Basile was enough.
That would work for Farm Aid.
For Farm maybe for Farm Aid, yes, but for me not so much. I was unless you were a goat herders convention, then maybe I was something like that, like whatever, like you said, that would have been nice. But no, I really kind of like the name Basile. My mother Rosemary and my father Herb had a tremendous sense of humor, so they continued on with their little thing, and they wanted, of course, my sister, who's a nutcase, her name is Meg, she's a nut. And anyway, are you people getting any of these jokes out there? Anything? Nothing? Okay, continue, Demetri. Go ahead.
You're extremely popular in the Greek American community. I was wondering, how do you tailor your act for a specific Greek audience? Because the Greek American humor they don't necessarily get. Because I remember when My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out, I took my cousin. That was right when it came out and it wasn't popular yet, and he thought it was just absolutely stupid. He didn't get any of the humor. But then, of course, when the movie became super popular and it gave notoriety to the Greeks, it'd be oh, it's a great movie. The Greeks, they just didn't get it because stereotyping them.
Yeah, but the thing is also the fun part is the double entendres that were involved. There was the certain things, the bunt cake, which to me, it's, they're looking at this cake that had a hole in it, and it's, my favorite line of that whole movie, believe it or not, is keki morine, keki. To me, which I thought was hysterical. I think, Nia is brilliant. I think when she wound up putting this thing together, was based on her one-woman show, and I'm a big fan of Nia's, and, it's nice to know that she likes my stuff too, so would love to work with her one day on that. But, the Greeks from Greece, they really didn't understand all the wordplay. They didn't understand some of the silliness that went on. We were both raised in a conservative Greek household, but in a wide open American society. So you take those differences and you poke fun at them. And that's basically what I do with growing up Greek in America. Trying to explain to your friends why you're eating the brains of a lamb or a goat or the cheeks or the tongue. They don't really understand it, or if it's good luck to eat the eyeball. You can't explain that, and you try and tell them, if you certain things that, you got to be able to do this and do that, and to celebrate the 40 days of Lent, you're going to eat goat gut soup. Very difficult to explain, because of course, goat intestines is a delicacy in most countries. My guy would sit there, here we are fasting from meat for 40 days. You had that dream of going to a White Castle or to a diner to have like a steak with double cheese fries and milkshake, but the plans have changed because my yaya made goat gut soup. And, I was like, oh yeah, sign me up for this faith. This is the faith that I want to belong to. So it was always fun for us to actually, tease that a little bit and have some fun with it. And that's what she did in that movie. She teased a little bit who we are. And then the funny part was all of America and everyone around the world realized that we're all immigrants and we all have gone through this. And it didn't matter if you were Swahili or if you were Irish or if you were Italian and you came to the United States, you identified with it. It was the same things that all those various ethnic groups actually have that they were poking fun at each other, and that's why they loved the movie, and it was so successful because of that.
Having seen your act and seen the movie is highly exaggerated. It exaggerates these characteristics, where yours are spot on and equally, if not more so, funny. So I congratulate you for doing that.
I appreciate that. And the thing is, I try not to over exaggerate. I try to be truthful as much as I can. The funny part is, I really captured the essence of every parent. What they did to their kids or us. What our grandparents went through. How some of the sayings that you just couldn't explain or interpret to your friends because it made no sense to us as Greek Americans or as Greeks. Grandma would say something, "That's a foul," which she's going to, and literally translate, "I'm going to eat you," and your friends are like, "Huh, that's interesting." Really? I go, "Yeah," but in Greek we understand we were in trouble. If you that's a foul, it was you're in trouble. Completely different meaning in those translated from Greek to English.
You're going to eat wood.
Yeah, thafas xilo. Really? That means you're going to get a beating, or you're going to eat wood. Which one is it? Have you decided which way you want to go with this? So for me, it was always exciting to actually take that and poke fun at it. So
how do you specifically tailor your act if it's an audience of just Greeks out there that don't necessarily get the Greek American humor?
And you know what? I've performed in Greece. I performed in Cyprus, and mostly everyone does speak some type of form of English. Maybe they'll be that good or whatever, but it's not so much what I say, but it's how I say it. There's a certain cadence to my material that I do. There's a nuance that I have facially that I wind up having that they feel my pain that I'm going through. If I'm eating horta, which is dandelion greens that were picked off the side of the road, it's universal. Everyone around the world has stopped and picked greens. Or if your grandmother forced you to jump over illegally to your neighbor's house to pick the dandelion greens or to pick the grape leaves, and you're like, I don't want to trespass against anyone. Go, it's okay, it's all right, there's no problem. Go. And you're like, oh my God, it's universal. So I will tailor it more Greek, of course, but heck, my Greek, I'm probably 70% proficient at best. So my Greek is a little broken, or as in Greek we refer to as spasmena elinika, and and it's okay. The people know that I'm trying, but there are so many interfaith marriages around the world. Not just being Greek. They marry, if you're in Germany and you happen to be a Greek in Germany, they're marrying a girl who's German. And they're speaking German, English, and Greek. If they're in Sweden, same thing. They'll speak Swedish, Greek. They'll speak English. Same thing in Greece. They could be even a Turkish girl. I don't know who the heck would marry a Turkish girl, of course, who's Greek, but it's their own little cross they have to bear. But it's the same thing. You do that, and there are even times here. If I do a show like in New York, I might be in St. Demetrios in New York City. I'll do a show. Well, most of those people are what I refer to as right off the boat. They came right from Greece, so I have to do the show more in Greek, and and they have the same issues with their grandmothers and their grandfathers and their parents and their foods that we eat. And again, I'm teasing the differences that we have here in America, or maybe Australia, or the UK, or anywhere else, and being Greek. And that's where I come up, and that's again where you come up with the humor.
Have you ever offended anyone? Has anyone taken it the wrong way and gotten genuinely upset?
You know what? It's kind of funny you mention that. I've had 4 folders that are completely jammed full of wonderful comments. Everything from we lost our son in Iraq, our daughter got killed in a car accident, and you've made us laugh, you made us smile. And it was kind of funny. My assistant always tells me, why do you save those letters? And I said, one day I'm going to be 90 years old. I'm going to wonder what the heck I did with my life, and I'm going to read those and say I made a difference in someone's life. And I think that's pretty cool. And of all those huge folders that I have 1 folder of hate mail, and I have 5 letters. 5. So I think I'm doing pretty good. Not everyone's going to love me, but anytime you're in the public eye, not everyone's going to love you. That's all there is to it. You got to have a thick skin. I'll give you a great example. I wound up playing the Borgata Casino in Atlantic City, and I did a concert there, and it was my general audience show. Tailor-made for a general audience, not Greek, whatever. I talk about being Greek a little bit, but anyway, I did a simple joke about being from West Virginia, and I said, oh my gosh, we better get that short bus out there, right? Because you always think West Virginians are all backwoods people, and they're some of the smartest, brilliant people like anywhere else around the world, And this woman came up to me, she comes up, she goes, Basile, I love your show, love it. I am a fan of yours, but please don't say anything about the short bus because I have a special child. And sometimes you have to sit back and go, okay, and maybe I was insensitive, but, I'm not a politically correct individual. I've never have been, but I don't come across as crass, and I don't come across as someone who is going to make fun of the mentally handicapped or the physically handicapped. I don't do that. It's not my shtick. I don't like cursing a lot in my shows. I really don't. Are there times in my general audience show that I do? Yeah, I do. Listen, they're all adults there. I'm playing casinos, playing comedy clubs, theaters all over the world. Yeah, and I have to let it slip. It slips. It does. Do I do it on purpose? No. Do I do it to gain a laugh? No. Do I do it in a Greek show? No, because I got clergy that's in there. I got kids that are in there. I get them from the womb to the tomb. So I got an array of ages, I should say, that basically allows me that I represent this group of people, and I have to do it in a way that's kind of formal. Not formal. Formal's the wrong word, but clean. That comedy can be clean, it could be funny, and that's what I try and do in that form.
And with comedy, you should have a free pass as far as there shouldn't be political correctness, so to speak, with comedy.
You're always going to have someone, Demetri, complain about it. You're always going to have someone who say, oh my God, that was too racy, or that was too racy, you shouldn't have said that, or whatever. You know what? You don't like it, don't come to my show. It's real simple. Folks, if you don't like watching on TV, change the channel. If you don't like listening to it on the radio, put it on another channel. It's real simple. If that offends you, there are a lot of people who kind of dig it. Who really enjoy it.
How do you handle the expectation that you're always going to be funny? And I know you have the natural ability to be funny. You're just a hilarious guy by your nature. But at the same time, when you're on stage, you're focusing all your creative energy to put on a show. And then I think when people meet you in person, they expect that same persona, the same comedy to be coming through. So how do you deal with that? I mean, you must be mentally exhausted.
There are times when you just want to give straight answers and go on. Look, I'm a businessman. My job is I produce everything from, little segments on television, small segments. I write for television, I write film, I write all that stuff. Remember, it's show business. There's a time that you're going to be funny, but there's the business aspect of it that you have to be serious. And, it's kind of funny. People always expect me to be, hey, haha. And usually I am, even before a meeting. But when we sit down and we have lawyers around us and we have agents around us and management, I don't want to say cutthroat, but I'm very, very business oriented, and I actually come across and I said, this is what needs to be done. If there's an issue, if anyone has any disagreements, state their problems and issues right now before we continue. So I am straightforward in a lot of ways that way. But I do it sometimes with a chuckle, because you can always get more out of a person with humor than you can with being a real wise guy and someone who's really, really strict. I can get more out of someone with honey than I can with vinegar.
So true. Very true. Have you ever had to deal with a heckler?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. I don't care if it's Greek or non-Greek. Absolutely. But the thing is, if it's kind of funny when you deal with a heckler, you have to deal with a heckler in a very, very gentle way. You have to sit there and see how the crowd reacts to the heckler. And you look at the crowd and you're like, all right, and you smack them, verbally smack them in a way that, because this guy might be drunk or this woman might be drunk, so you got to see. And if you go overboard, now the audience is against you, right, because you went too far. So you got to be able to read the audience at the same time that you're thinking about, how the heck am I going to get that person to be quiet, and or do it in a way that after you hit them verbally, you give them a little wink and say, hey man, good one. Thanks. I appreciate it. Let's continue on with the show.
I hate you with a smile, basically.
Not so much hate. The thing is, they want to have fun, too. They want to express themselves in a way, and it's fine. They think something's funny. They want to shout something up. I think in all the years I've been doing comedy, I think I may have had one person thrown out, and that was very early in my career.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I wish there was a better answer, but it's a real delicate way to approach it, because if you hit them too hard, then the audience hates you,
right.
So you have to be very, very careful the way you handle it. I had a grandfather one time in California at one of my Greek shows who said something. We couldn't shut him up. So I put him into my show, and I kept nailing him and nailing him and nailing him. Did I want to put him in my show? No, it's the Basile show. It's not the Basile and the the drunk papu show. So I had to, and people thought that he was part of the show because I made it funny. But you just have to learn how to be able to go ahead and make it work, because you want people to have a good time at your shows. You don't want to have a bad time.
I like that. Right. Your material is very original. Your whole shtick is original.
Thank you.
Do you have any comedians that inspired you? That you might have formulated your act, not copying them directly, but being inspired by them?
I love, it's kind of funny. My mom and dad forbade me to watch Richard Pryor or to listen to Richard Pryor. And to this day, I still think that Richard Pryor was probably one of the most brilliant comics. Yeah, he was dirty, no two ways. One of the most brilliant comics and best storytellers ever. And I remember my father, coming downstairs, and I'd be falling asleep at 6 a.m. in front of the hi-fi, and I was listening to Richard Pryor, and the thing was over hours ago, but the thing kept going, because the record was over. But my father would kick me. Hey, get up. All right, go to bed. All right, jeez. He just scratched his head. He didn't understand why I would want to listen to a Richard Pryor comedy album, but he was funny. And I still have all of his albums. I think Bill Cosby's funny. I think there was a lot of cats that really made me laugh. And if you had some type of a shtick, Steve Martin in the beginning, I remember, man, he had some of his early stuff that came out hysterical. Why? Because it was stupid. It was funny. It was, I love silly humor. And that's what I like to see. I like to see when people can laugh at that. And they do. And they have a great time doing it. And, those are the guys who kind of inspired me.
Basile, you've also worked with Universal Studios doing voice work. Is that correct?
I'm the voice of Bullwinkle, and I get a chance to do Bullwinkle for them. Not the original voice. Everybody keeps saying, Bill Scott was the original voice. So I'm not that old, for God's sakes. And my job is to fix the original loops are made from 1959, early 1961. And because they kind of fell apart over the years on the audio track, and I did some stuff with Buena Vista at that time, owned it, and then I'll do stuff for the park systems if they ask. But it's kind of funny because I really couldn't speak English all that well when I was a kid, but I could watch cartoons, and I was the great pacifier for most parents. They put their child in front of a television, and I was the babysitter, right? So, I would sit there and start doing Bullwinkle in Greek. Mi tera te una examen de mikrana pes miligagi. Mama, okay, that's it. We got to teach him English. It's got to be okay, So I've been doing Bullwinkle for a bunch of years, and I did a lot of voice work for Japanese anime, Bubblegum Crash series. I did Blue Sub 6, Unai. So it was pretty cool to be able to do a lot of incidental work as well. I love doing character work. One of the things I'm really proud of for ESPN was the 30 for 30 special about the legend of Jimmy the Greek. And I voiced, as Jimmy the Greek, the whole entire documentary. It was pretty cool. It was pretty sad. And, I know I did well when I could make the producers and the executive producer and the guy who was running the board out there cry as I was, emoting, how my mother was killed. And, because his mother was killed but his mother and his aunt was killed by a deranged uncle. And it was pretty sad. And it's actually to be able to emote that type of reaction from somebody just from the voice, to me, it was pretty cool. We got nominated for an Emmy. And I was very, very proud of that. Nice little feather in my cap, if you will. I
saw it, and it was fantastic. And I remember your silhouette appeared, too. Is that correct?
That was not me. That was another actor who actually did that. I just wanted to go ahead and do the voice.
Sure looked like you.
Yeah, yes. I know. I'm another good-looking guy. It's very, very difficult to be, I really enjoyed doing that. That was actually a lot of fun to actually sit there and do that, because it took us about 3 days, 8 hours a day. So it's about roughly 24 hours to get that, that 1 hour special down, because you have to repeat the line. Try it this way and try it that way. I remember when I was auditioning for it, and they kind of had an idea they wanted me, and because Jimmy the Greek had a very distinct voice, and it was more of sounded like a guy who's from the Bronx without the real heavy Bronx accent. He was actually had more of a Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio type blend, along with the Bronx attitude that he had. He did it, and he goes, "Hey, how you doing? You doing all right? Hey, I'm Jimmy the Greek." And I knew that even though the family was upset the way that Jimmy was portrayed in the actual show, the segment that we did, they came up to me and says, "We love the way you did Jim." And that was pretty cool, to have that, the way I portrayed his voice, the emotion and all that. So I thought that was a feather in my cap too. To when you can get the family to sit there and
that's
say,
the
we love
ultimate
that.
compliment.
Oh, absolutely. You're just sitting there. That's great. That was fun. And then, of course, been in the movie industry for years. As I told you earlier, stuntman in the porn movie industry, which was very difficult for me to do that. But someone's got to do it, and I came in for special things. Some of the movies. You may know me from Shortcomings. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then the other one was just a sound effect. It was called, and that was it. Yeah, so that was one of my other favorite movies. That I did.
You were the stuntman, or did they use? I
was actually stunt man. I came in there for when they needed. They didn't have a zoom in camera, and they needed something more larger. They didn't have the mirrors that this may seem closer or larger than it appears. Right. They would use me in that portion, so I was very very proud of that. And
you should be.
Oh yeah. Well, the boys in Cell Block C to this day still have my poster hanging up, and I'm very happy about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I'm a giver.
All right.
I don't know if we're going to use that for the interview, but it's pretty freaking funny.
As far as impressions go, are there any impressions that you would like to do, but you don't think you're very good at it, so you don't incorporate it in your act?
It's kind of funny. When I hear something that makes me laugh, or I see something that makes me laugh, I try and put it into my show. Just got to figure it. And if I can close my eyes and I think about the bit, and if I could see people smiling and laughing with my eyes closed as I'm thinking through this bit, I know it's a winner. I just got to find how to get to that place, to get that end result of them smiling and laughing and going crazy. We have a person at our church who is Psalti, and for those who don't know what Psalti is, it's a person basically is a chanter, and he also reads the epistle. And I swear to you, the guy sounds like Kermit the Frog. And I started laughing, and the only thing I heard was, "Oh Lord, where is thy sting? For I want the Lord to be my shepherd." And I'm like, the only thing I kept waiting for was Miss Piggy, Kermit, to come across and do it. And I'm like, oh my God. And every time when I make mention of that, the whole choir knows I would do an imitation of this one guy. And as soon as he would start reading the epistle, everyone is like looking right at me. Then they have to look down because they don't want to start laughing. So I incite these idiots out there at the church. And, but again, one of the greatest guys in the world, he just sounds like Kermit the Frog, So I want to bring that out in my show.
So does he know that you?
No, and I'm afraid to say anything. I'm afraid to say anything. It's the same thing, man. When there was a guy who used to kill me, and he thought. He wasn't Greek, but he thought that Greeks had a very, very close attachment to nature, which I always thought we did, and dogs. And I'm sitting there and says, yeah, you Greeks, you guys love those trees. You guys love trees. And I never really understood what he was talking about. And every time, and my neighbors had a lot of dogs, and those dogs loved me. They jump all over me. And then you guys, man, you love your dogs. And I'm thinking, it's very religious. I feel that the religious stuff, and I'm wondering, all these years, where are you going with this? And finally, I said, is it because, I've heard guys who, dog is really close to God. If you spell it backwards, that's what it means. I said, is that what you're going? He goes, no, but you guys and dogs and with trees, it's very, very close. I said, where are you going with this? He goes, because every time you guys would pray, it says, dogs up a tree. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? Dogs up a tree? I'm like, you're an idiot. But it made me laugh. So you want to add that into it and just say, and so now I got to find a way to figure that stuff in. How do I do it? And you work it out. You get rid of the old stuff and you bring in the new stuff. And people are like, well, how come you don't do this anymore? And how come you don't do that anymore? Because if I did, you guys would never come to my shows. You just sit and watch my DVDs at home and say, forget the cover. We got Basile on DVD. So we try and change it up as much as we can.
That's great. Yeah, that reminds me of the dyslexic atheist that insisted there is no dog.
Yes, of course not. That's true. I like that. It's very, very funny.
Basile's website, let me give that out to you. That's www.basilelive. That's BASILELIVE.com.
You can find more information about me there.
And also, Basile has a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So that's Basile Fans. That's Basile with an E.
BASILEFANS. And that's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to find more information about me.
Do you do any Greek-style voices?
You know, the funny thing is my dad has the best accent in the world. Now, everybody says, it was kind of funny. My father's only 5'3". I'm standing erect. I'm 6'2". All right, so a huge differential. And my dad had the greatest accent in the world, and he was almost like Antonio Banderas. And people think, no. And I said, no, really. When my father would get mad at me, he would scream out, Jesus Christ, by that. But this is the way he would say it, and it would scare the hell out of me. He'd go, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, oh my God. Someone just took care of it. You've been in, what's the word? You've been taken over. Your soul's been taken over. Don't tell me what I have done. And I'm like, oh my God. And man's, he's a little bit nuts. But my father's, he has got the greatest accent. I love my dad's accent. My yaya always talk like this. She talk like this because this is the way she would talk. And she goes, Basile, I want you to do this and this and this. My mother, American-born, Jesus Christ, Basile. Why don't you just do the things I tell you to do? Just do those things and you'll be okay. And then you might, papu, hey, Hesmeno Prama, come over here. Hesmeno Prama. Can we say that on the radio? All right. Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. You know what I would love to do? I would love to do some Greek cartoons. And I was always surprised at Disney when they send a lot of their stuff over to be, done in another language, because I do a lot of Japanese anime that way too. They come over in Japanese, then you get the sides, and the thing is you have to get the right exact lip movement, put your verbiage in that lip movement. It's really, really tough. Or you're going to have a bad Godzilla-like situation, the movies, the old Japanese movies. So you got to sit there, and it's the way they set it up. You got this huge screen in front of you. You get 3 beeps and a tone that'll tell you, toot, and then you got to deliver your line. And you might have a phrase like, meanwhile, the guy said, oh yeah, really? How do you put all that into all the way that lip movement? So they found a way to go ahead and they write the sides to try and match up. And I have to fit it in the lip movement when I do it. It's very, very difficult. When you do regular animation, you first lay down the audio track. All the animation is done except for the lip movement. The surprise look, all that. But the lip movement is the last thing they do. Wow. So you always wondered what a director did for a cartoon. Like Fritz, directed by Fritz Feeling. How the hell do you direct a cartoon? Because I was expecting the first cut. Daphne, this is not what we were thinking. What we're thinking about doing, you're despicable. To me, that was always funny to find out until you really get into the situation of the cartoon. That's where storyboards come alive and everything, and you want to know. We were talking about headsets and everything. Yeah, I have some of the best cans in the world for my headsets, and because this is what I do, it's part of my job. Right now I'm trying to develop I'm putting together, I should say, a production company. I've been asked to go ahead and actually create programming for television, film, and all that, not necessarily with me in it, but to be basically with my ideas and concepts, and to create it for television, to create it for cable networks, create it for the internet, maybe Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing right now. I put a lot of effort in there. As a matter of fact, we're in a process right now of actually trying to go ahead and raise a lot of money and have the studio, and my company's name is Spice Rack Entertainment. And so we're very, very excited about that. This is something that I see that's the future, where I want to bring entertainment to the masses, may it be with television, may it be with cable, may it be on the internet, so we can watch something on your actual phone, whatever. Not just Greek, everything. And to bring the people in and do it, because they're looking for programming right now. All these places are looking for programming. They need, I got a lot of cats who I know, and they've always like, my God, Basile, can you help us with this? We really want to see you do something. We have this idea, and I'll take their idea and I fix it up a little and polish it up, and I'll change maybe 30% of it, and it's a lot better. And they'll sit there and go, this is what we want. And I said, sure. And that's where I make a lot of my money too, is basically from that aspect of my career, from doing that. And I love it. So to find out more information, can I do it that way?
Absolutely.
Find out more information and go to basilelive.com. That's BASILELIVE.com. Don't forget Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All those handles are the same. at Basile Fans. Basile, no space, Fans. That's Basile Fans, one word.
Fantastic.
Dude, this was fun.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being here.
This was fun. I love the studio. I love what you did with it.
Thank you. What do you like most about it?
It's got that early American disaster motif that I truly appreciate. It really does, and I love it a lot. It really does. I'm expecting Godzilla to come through here in a moment. But thanks for having me on the air, man.
Well, thank you. Again, this has been Basile, the comedian, the most famous Greek-American comedian in the entire world.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're awesome, man. Thank you.
Dude, Demetri, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. And for all you listening out there, thank you so much for putting up with me. This has been a lot of fun. And I'm going to take a nap. Can I take a nap?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to lay down here on this beautiful carpet.
All right. Very good.
I think I will. I'm tired. Okay. I'm really tired.
I can tell. Yeah.
I'm tired. I look like hell.
You look great. You're beautiful.
Do I really?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I can't even get a date in prison, for God's sakes.
I'll get you some warm milk and some
really?
John's. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay.
More milk on a hot day. It's exactly what I wanted.
That's right.
Okay.
You can curdle up to a nice...
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I really do. You know, like I said, the boys in Cell Block C love me. I'm feeling good. You know, and I give them Greek lessons.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Tell them how the Greeks gave the world everything. And for those who are listening right now, we did give the world everything. And if you're not Greek, you don't believe us, I want you to believe we gave the world everything from art, drama. We gave the world everything from democracy, philosophy, architecture, all the way down to zoology. And what are we known for now? Yogurt. What the hell happened? Where did we drop the ball? Someone left the milk out for 3 days. Voila, yogurt. You know, like, really? Okay.
Well, it is culture.
It is cool. Oh, that was good. I like that. Very funny. Okay. Well, it's the Basile Hour, and I'm interviewing Demetri. Okay. No, thanks so much for having me on the air, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, this is Basile, and you're listening to Greek American Hour. Shit. 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is Basile, and you're listening to the Greek American Hour with Demetri on WZIG 104.1 FM. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, this is the Greek... Hey, everybody, this is Basile from Growing Up Greek in America, and you're listening to Hey, everyone, this is Basile from Growing Up Greek in America, and you're listening to the Greek American Hour with Demetri on WZIG 104.1 FM. Yasu, baby. Hey, everyone, this is Basile from Growing Up Greek in America, and you're listening to WZIG LP 104.1, Palm Harbor, Florida. Ooh, can you smell the souvlaki now?